we'll pull up my file that has boomerangs and bombs on it. So now normally within the game you're not going to actually go to the shop. I'm just doing this to show you guys a couple tricks here. So don't buy boomerangs, don't buy bombs, you're just going to move on. So now this part's interesting. There's two methods you can do here. In regards to speed, I think my original method is faster, but if you're having difficulty doing it, there's two ways you can do this. Normally when this level starts up, you have to hit a button. It's in the center of the screen, it's on the center chandelier, you have to go all the way up, you hit a button, two chandeliers drop, you go to the left, you pick up the first diamond, you go to the right, you get the second diamond, you're good to go. That's my normal method, and actually what I'll do is I'll show you what I do first. For visual cues, use the brown table as your first visual cue, and use that for double jumping. So what you're going to do is you're going to double jump on the brown table, you're going to double jump on the chandelier, double jump again, and then mock double jump zoom to nail the button. Which, Christ, that's kind of a crazy explanation, isn't it? But hey, let's run through it, shall we? This is something you're going to have to kind of get on your own. I do apologize, but it's a little tricky to explain. So jump, button, and there you go. So what you can do is you'll get that first diamond, you'll unlock the first part of this, no thank you, and then for the second diamond, since you already destroyed it, what you can simply do is pick it up through the floor. So you can jump up and pick it up right through the floor, and you're good to go. That's the first method. I believe that method is faster, but that's just me. For now, again, maybe you guys can find something that works, maybe you can prove me wrong. By all means. But, excuse me, what you can do, if you're having difficulty doing that, you can do a method that's just a slightly slower. I believe it's slightly slower, based on how my execution usually rolls for this section. But it's just as effective. It gets the job done, and it requires two boomerangs, though. That's the only downside to it. It does require boomerangs. So, how's it going, dude? And what we're going to do, I'll just show you. It's actually very funny. We're going to start the section off, we're going to jump up in midair, and we're going to throw a boomerang. We're going to throw it to the right. It's going to circle back,
let's take a break,
and it's going to go to the statue up top, that statue I just punched, right? And what'll end up happening, if you hold slow, the moment it gets to the statue, it'll take a little bit of estimating, but you hold slow, the statue will blow up, and you can pick up the diamond through the floor, like I just did, for the right side. So check it out. Like so. So you can pick up the diamond just like you would normally, and you could do the same thing to the blue diamond on the far side. You don't even have to go near the switch. You don't have to do it, actually. So put that in, another boomerang, and there you go. That's the second method. The reason I don't like doing that is because it requires more jumping. It does require at least 4 jumps, 4 double jumps, which takes a little bit of time, and you can't mock speed your way through it, because in this game, boomerang, you can't pull out a boomerang while you're mock speeding. So if you're just like holding mock speed and you're punching, instead of actually buffering to pull out a boomerang, you'll just sit there punching in midair, like so. So I'm holding it down right now, and I can't pull it out. So, kind of a bummer. But I digress. So again, 2 methods for that section. It's up to you. I've timed it before. I actually had better luck doing the jumping and crazy and but that's just me. So, and yeah, I guess that's really about it. So 2 methods for you. For this next section, what I do is When you're in these elevators, hold Mach speed. Mach speed actually does force the elevator to go faster. But of course, don't hold it so you run out of VFX, obviously. When I get to the near top of this floor, what I'll end up doing is I'll hold slow, and I'll run into the room. And because I'm holding slow, the platform in this room will actually start to drop. I'll meet the platform there, and the moment I land on that platform, I hold Mach speed, I double jump, I knock the chandelier out, and the chandelier falls on the platform. Okay? That'll give me the key, and then the moment I have the key, I jump off, and I actually zoom again so I can zoom stomp. Okay? Try to take that all in. So slow. So normally, I have... Damn it. Doing this in a tutorial fashion is weird for me. I apologize. But what I would do here we go. So we go 1. Like that. That's what I would do typically. There you go. Oh, thank you, Mike. Appreciate it. So once more, hold slow. And there you go. Knocks the chandelier out, so let's do it in slow-mo, because I can, actually, in this game. Chandelier falls, zoom to the platform, and then fall off, and the key goes right into the door, and you're moving on. So, for this section, this is the bathtub skip. I found this out entirely by accident. It was very funny how it worked out. This skip's actually a lot easier than it looks. It's actually very easy, as a matter of fact. That's the funny thing. A lot of the odd exploits in this game, they're a piece of cake. If an idiot like me can do them, anybody can do them. Excuse me. So, what we're going to do is, the moment this door opens, I would slide forward once, and these guys will pop out. So what I do is, the moment I slide in, I zoom in, and I Mach double jump. So zoom in, and I knock that ceiling open. Okay? So, typically, you got to take out all these Bianchis, you got to take out the soldiers in the room, and then you get a set of books. The books come out, you throw them in the bookcase, and then the case comes out, you use the case, blah, 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 blah. Crap. We're not doing that. What we're going to do is the bathtub skip. So how the bathtub skip works, in this game, take a really close look here. When you use slow in this game, check out the bookshelf. Actually, that's a good point of reference. Keep an eye on it. As I use slow, notice that the entire case is actually zooming in. It's like doing a mini zoom in here. See that? Notice how much it's zooming in. I believe how this works is when you're holding slow, the entire perspective, everything in the game actually does like it's a minor shrink, it looks like. So everything kind of shrinks for you. And because it gives that odd perspective where everything kind of zooms in and shrinks for you, it gives Joe the extra height to actually jump over the bathtub. And I'm actually able to skip this entire scene. So, how this works, let's take a look here. You're going to get to the very left. As far to the left as possible, this hole. Notice that I can't get over the top right now. I can't, like, oh my god, it's so close. Like, it's right there. Why can't I get over the top? No slow, right? Oh my gosh. Now, at the very top of the jump, the very top of my first jump, I'm going to hold slow. Okay, a little short. And we're good. The bathtub skip. Funny thing is, too, if you actually jump over the bathtub, the Bianchis from the scene disappear, and if you do it enough, you'll actually skip most of the scene, and all the enemies will just, like, will just go away. It's kind of silly. Oh my god, I am turning into ZFG here. So once again, jump right over. Now, the cool thing, too, you actually don't have to hold slow the moment your second jump starts. You can actually do it at the very last second, like so. These guys would get out of my way. So you can do it at the last second. It's up to you. Whatever makes you feel comfortable, whatever helps you get it faster, whatever floats your boat. I typically go right about now. That's more than enough to get over the bathtub. Piece of cake. And that's the bathtub skip. That saves about, I'd say, 15 to 20 seconds, assuming you have perfect execution for that entire bottom section. It's pretty cool. And then what we'll do here is after the bathtub skip, we'll go across, and we're going to hit this platform. We're going to zoom, stomp. We're going to break that open, kick, kick, and we're good. There's the bathtub skip. Now for this part, it's just a standard beat 'em up. You can use Mach speed, you can use zoom, whatever floats your boat. It doesn't really matter to you, or me rather. I use zoom because it's fancier and it looks more fast-paced than it really is. Or you can use Mach speed, like I said. Mach speed does take a little bit longer because it's a little weaker than Red Hot 100, but it's just as effective. So, but I digress. Now, for these ballerinas, the Bianchi Primas that come up, what I do here, and this is where it gets a little tricky, the timing is interesting. If you time it correctly, and this is a task trick as well, the moment you zoom and you start punching, okay, the moment that first punch comes out, if you hit slow, what'll end up happening is you'll get the power of slow zoom Red Hot 100, but you'll get the speed of Red Hot 100 as well, because you're hitting slow at the last second. So what that means is I could take these enemies out without having to hold slowdown the entire time. So let me give you an extreme example here. So say I'm waiting for this Bianchi Prima. I wait. Okay? That's an extreme example. That's me holding slow and waiting for the Prima to get back into the level. Now let's say we do it a little faster here. So the timing, that second one was a little off, but if you time it correctly, you can take them out and you can bop them right there and then. You don't have to deal with their shield, and that's what happens actually if you mess up. You'll knock them right into their shield, and if that's the case, you can just zoom in and finish them off. It's not a big deal. So like this, for instance, I'll try to do this trick. So slow zoom punch with the power of slow zoom, but the speed of zoom. Kind of crazy, right? So that is correct, and we'll uppercut him and go into the elevator. And there you go. So it's technically it's frame perfect, but it is based on the task. It's frame perfect. You're not going to see that with me playing. I'm not that good. I will still use it when I can though, because I'm pretty consistent with it for the most part. But you know, it is what it is. Now, for this next section, this is where things get tricky. The movement here is interesting. What we're going to do is we're going to use fast fuse a lot. And I'm going to show you some weird properties with these walls coming up. So, let's get started, shall we? The moment this elevator gets near the top, it's going to start slowing down. I'm going to pull out a bomb, and I'm not going to fast fuse it, okay? So I'm going to pull out the bomb. I'm going to run into it. I'm going to slide into it twice, but not too fast, though, because if you go too fast, you'll actually go right past the bomb. I'm going to slide into it once, wait a second, slide into it again, and by the time I get near that wall, the bomb's going to be ready to explode. So I'm timing the elevator opening and the bomb's fuse. So that's the whole point. So let's see if we can do it. Like that. So that's decent timing, actually. So you take out that wall. Now, let's clear the area here for a second. By the way, slow can burst through those pink shields for those guys, so fun fact. Zoom, rather. I think it said zoom, but anyway. So, how these walls work. These walls are interesting, actually. What you do is, normally, if you go up to these walls and you try to kick them, standard kick, you get knocked back. And the thing about knockback in this game is it takes a little bit longer for you to pull out a bomb. See? A little bit of a delay. versus that. Comes out a lot faster if I don't hit the wall. So how do you get around that? Especially with this wall. So, oh my gosh. I can't get up there. How do I deal with it? I'm not really sure how to deal with it, right? What you can do to get around it, the thing about slow in this game, slow gives you the ability to get around that stun lock. So that stun that you see, let's hold slow. Oh wait, I can actually punch it. I can kick it. I don't get stunned. Interesting. So punch, stun, 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 no stun. Interesting. So how do we use that to our advantage? Well, what I do for this particular wall is I'm going to jump up here, I'm going to hit slow, kick it, buffer a bomb, and there you go. So in this case, these bombs that you're seeing here that normally spawn for the level, they don't come out quickly enough if you do this correctly. So what I do is the moment I enter this room, it's 1, 2, kick, right in the fast fuse. And because the hitbox of that shocking pink is so large, it's actually able to take out the top platform right here. Pretty cool, right? Now for this wall, you might notice, maybe you didn't notice, maybe you didn't, I don't know. I actually jump in a very specific spot. And the reason I do it is because if I kick the wall, I get stunned, right? What if I kick the area above the wall? I don't get stunned. Right? Pretty cool. So instead of having to use slow, instead of having to do this and then this, what I can actually do is kick above and fast fuse it, and I can take out the wall like that. Pretty cool, right? So that'll take out that wall, no problem. For this part, you're going to take out this Rosetta, grab the key. Oops. Normally these guys won't be here. I'm just kind of, you know, and if they are, just jump over them. Same deal. You punch above the wall, or kick above the wall, rather, and fast fuse right through. And then Mach speed your way up the elevator. And same deal here. Take these guys out just using zoom. It can run right through their shields. And then this gotta be 1, 2. Now, for this part, okay? What we're gonna do is we're gonna have this key open this door. There's a couple ways to do this. I typically go for style. There's no reason to, but what I do is I do 3 slides, so 3 Mach slides. I do a quick double jump, and then in the middle of that quick double jump, I do a stomp. And that stomp will hit the button to lower the staircase for the next room, or the ladder, whatever you want to call it. The other way to do it is to slide twice, hold left, Mach zoom jump, and then the moment you actually end, Mach zoom jump, zoom out, and then zoom back in to get the stomp out of it. So that's a little bit trickier to do. It also takes some very strict timing. But it looks fancy, so, you know, yeah. So I'll show you what I mean. We'll do the easy one first. So we'll do 3 slides and a Mach stomp. 1, 2, 3, Mach stomp. And then 1, 2, 1, 2, done. Let's take a break. So hold right, 2 Mach jumps, hold left, 2 Mach jumps, and you're good. And you're going to go right in the Joker. Make sure you're on his left. And you can just go 1, 2, 3, and you're good. And there you go. Hey, I'm trying to explain this, okay? I want to make sure there's words to go with, you know. Hey, I could just be like, okay, do this, 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 there you go. I could just do that. So, keep that in mind. So we'll go for the normal stuff here. Okay. So for this part, you're going to put the shelf, or the books on the shelf here. This part's a little... God, I hate this cough. Seriously, I can't wait till it goes away. This part's interesting. There's a couple ways you can do it. What I do is, the moment the bookshelf opens, I drop, so I zoom stomp immediately. While I'm zoomed, I hold right, and I jump, so that'll give me a diagonal zoom. I zoom out, and then zoom back in for the extra stomp to go right through the bathtub. So let's see if we can do it. So let's do it slow-mo. 1, 2, 3. That is what I do while I'm holding Mach speed. That's how I typically go through that section. Okay? And then we'll take this lady down, and we're good to go. So once again, we'll do it right here. So 1, 2, 3. I do that while I'm holding Mach speed. So we can do it here. There you go. That's the general movement. So that's one way to do it. The other way to do it is simply stomp, run. Actually, you don't have to stomp, rather. You can just fall down, boom, boom. That's another way to do it. So, whatever works for you. But doing the zoom, it's much faster for me, actually. I've found that it's much faster. You just gotta be a little bit careful with it, that's all. So 1, 2, 3. And once again, if you don't want to do it that way, it's up to you. But anyway, for this little part, this part's actually very easy. It's deceptively easy. So what you want to do is hold on to... hop on this little table here first. You actually can't make it over. You can bathtub skip your way out, but you don't want to be doing that. It's a speed run. So what I would do is hop on this table, and you can jump out normally. You can do it slowly, like that, or you can mock it. So you got to make sure you get a full jump out of your first jump, and then you should be good to go. So like so, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, or you could just do 1, 2. Just be careful you're not jumping too quickly. You jump too quickly, you'll hit the very top of the bathtub. So, 1, 2. And there you go. And that's pretty much Chapter 2, actually. Really nothing else to say. For the record, I think I could have been okay at fighting games if I put the time in. Not, you know, phenomenal or anything by any means, but I could have been okay. I just never took the time to do it. Now, the one more thing I will show for this chapter. Fast boomerangs. So, you have fast fuse. Of course. And then you have fast booms, which... really, really clever name for the strategy, by the way. I mean, brilliant. How boomerangs work typically, you guys have seen it, right? So you can buffer them. This is as fast as you can throw a boomerang normally. Now, if you actually, what you can do here is you can speed up the animation for boomerangs to come out, and because you're speeding up the animation, you can buffer quickly, so you can pull out a boomerang much faster. Like so. versus... Pretty crazy, right? So, that's a fast boomerang right there. So what you do is at the very end of the animation, you hit Mach speed. And you buffer it. And there you go. Those are fast booms. I use that against Charles, and I use that against Hulk Davidson actually coming up here. So, you'll see that quite a bit. The key thing that makes this a little difficult, though, is actually when you throw a boomerang, you got to make sure you're using slow and zoom at the same time, and that's where fast booms actually have a little bit of difficulty. So you got to combine all your powers into one smooth motion. I'm out of boomerangs, but there you go. So what I'm doing to lay that out for you is I'm holding punch, I'm pulling out a boomerang, at the very end of the animation I'm hitting Mach speed to speed up the animation, and then I'm hitting left trigger and C stick in to actually get the damage from the boomerang. And the moment that the damage is done, I have to have it buffered for another boomerang to come out. So, you know, it's pretty easy, right? So those are fast booms. And then for King Blue, I actually use fast boomerangs as well, except you actually have to add jumping to the picture. So now you're dealing with jumping and then dealing with all that at the same time. It's not as bad as you may think. It's not as bad as it sounds, but that's actually what's going on. So, pretty silly. But I digress. So let's do it against Hulk, shall we? C stick or B button, I would say it's your preference more than anything. You're not going to buy boomerangs, by the way. This is also just a showcase. It's all preference. I use C stick for everything, and I use B button for mashing. Okay. So, for the casual perspective, what you normally do is you take this bomb, you can uppercut it, yada yada yada. You throw it into the candles, you kick it over, and it explodes. And there you go, you're done. For this case, what's interesting about this wall, you don't need to fast fuse this wall. There's no reason to. So what I typically do, because the reason, if you use fast fuse, you run a chance into running into the wall like that. You don't want to be doing that. So what I do is I pull out a shocking pink, I wait for it to touch the wall, and then hold slow. You don't have to time the fuse. It'll actually just blow up automatically. And I guess they did that to make the timing a little easier, which is good. So it makes it pretty easy. And you can see it again, too. It's actually kind of silly. It works even when the wall is not there. So, they obviously had some sort of hitbox for bombs in particular, but anyway. So, once again, fast booms. So I'm buffering the entire time. And you can see that I'm also actually now buffering quickly enough when a punch comes out. But anyway. So, oh, fun fact, you can actually have a boomerang show up in the cutscene when you fight Hulk here, but what I'm going to do for Hulk, tell you what, I'll show you what happens if you do this incorrectly. What you may not notice about the speedrun aspect of this is, let's see, my spacing is very important. If you're too far away, your boomerang, like, you're just going to be wasting time waiting for the boomerang to hit. If you're too close to him, he'll swing his axe at you. Spacing's important. I'll show you what happens if you mess it up. And I'll show you what happens when you don't mess it up. Oh, by the way, boomerang. Hello. Okay. Right here. Right where I'm standing, that's good spacing. So this is good. So now we have under control. It's a piece of cake. Now what happens if you get too close? That obviously happens. So that right there, if you're too close to him, he'll swing his axe at you. Now that's an extreme case, obviously I'm standing right next to him, but that's the reason my spacing is the way it is. I'm trying to stand close enough so I don't have to wait for the boomerang to attack, but I gotta stand far away so I can actually stun lock him. That's a case of it being too long. Or I'm sorry, too short rather, yeah. Hulk Davidson.
Hulk's going to the big house.
You little punk.
You little punk.
There we go.
Ready, Six Machine? Let's ride.
So there's Chapter 2. And that actually explains a lot of tactics, too. That covers quite a bit, as a matter of fact. What else?